Hey everybody, Bill here. I've got a Stadia update for you. We've got a couple of games on their way to Google Stadia, but before we get to that, I've got one thing that I want to mention. The devs for Creta asked me to, and they asked me and some other content creators to do like kind of a stream relay over on their official YouTube channel. There is a link in the description down below. That is happening today at around 2 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm recording this at like 12:30 Eastern Time, so by the time you watch this, that may have already happened. And if that's the case, guess what? You can still watch the video. It just won't be live. So check out the link in the description down below. I'm really looking forward to it. Crate is a very, very cool game, and I'm excited to see what other people have made in it, as well as hang out with people from Creta and other content creators. Now, let's talk about what this video is all about. But before we do me a favor, YouTube stuff, all right? Let's talk about these games that are on the way. We've got two new games that are on their way to Google Stadia coming soon. We don't know when they're coming soon, but they are coming soon. And those two games are Celeste, which we kind of already knew was going to happen. The ESRB leaked it, I don't know, a week ago. Any time that the ESRB gets a hold of something, they end up leaking it ahead of time. And I wish that they wouldn't do that because it does kind of spoil the fun of it. Like, it would have been really nice to be surprised by this, but we're not surprised that Celeste is on its way. We'll talk about that game in a little bit. The other game that is on its way is a game I've never heard of, and I promise you, my pronunciation is probably wrong here, but I think it's called El Hijo, a Wild West Tale. Let's see what they have to say about these two games. Let's start with El Hijo. I'm going to hit play so we can see what the game looks like. It is being developed by Honing Studios and published by Handy Games. I believe we've seen other games by Handy Games on Stadia before, but that is escaping me right now. If you remember which ones they are, let people know in the comment section down below. El Hijo is a Wild West tale. It is an exciting, non-violent stealth game in which you guide a 6-year-old boy on his quest to find his mother across a remote monastery, a harsh and unforgiving stretch of desert, and a frontier town rife with crime and villainy. Players will need to find solutions to progress, combining stealth and puzzle solving. All right, before we get to the features, I just want to say that the art in this game looks really, really good. I love the art style that they decided to go with. I think that it looks really fantastic. Let me hit play here. I think it looks really fantastic. It won Best Indie Game in 2019, which is pretty impressive. Like I said, the art style looks great. I love the shadows and the lighting that's going on with this game. And there's going to be people who look at this game and they're going to look at Celeste and they're going to say, well, how come we don't need this indie stuff? Give us AAA stuff. And to those people, I say, not every game has to be for you. There are other people that play video games, and I'm sure that there's a lot of them that would be very excited for games like this to come to Stadia. Just because something isn't a first-person or third-person shooter or a battle royale game or the genre that you prefer doesn't mean that it's not a good game. And it's perfectly okay for you to say, well, I'm not really interested in El Hijo, so I'm going to pass on it. That's perfectly fine. But to actively not want a game like this on Stadia because it's not a game that you're interested in, that's just crazy talk. We want the platform to be inclusive, meaning it brings in all kinds of gamers. And right now, I think that Stadia is doing a really good job with that. Here's what they have to say about El Hijo. They said, survive the Wild West with the cleverness of a young hero. Explore dark monasteries, deserts, and boom towns in a spaghetti western world. Merge with the shadows to hide from the lawless. Solve playfully tricky environmental puzzles. Use a playful arsenal of tactical toys to bypass and distract diverse desperados. Somebody really got out the thesaurus and was working on their alliteration here. Inspire other children towards the path to freedom and enjoy a gripping storyline of a brave son searching for his mother. I think this game looks awesome. I'm very, very excited for it. And when it comes to Stadia, I think it's going to be one that I'll be playing. Let's move on and talk about the other game, the first one that we talked about, and that is Celeste. All right. Celeste is a 2D, I think I would describe it as somewhere between 8-bit and 16-bit art style. Pixel perfect platformer, which is impressive that they're bringing it to Stadia because everybody knows how horrible the lag is for Stadia, right? It's not, by the way. But Celeste is coming to Stadia, and it is a game where latency is going to matter, and I bet you that they wouldn't be bringing it over if latency was an issue. Let's take a look at what Stadia, or I'm sorry, at what Celeste is like. It is developed and published by Matt Makes Games. I believe it won Best Game with a Message a couple years ago at the Game Awards. I can't remember off the top of my head. Here's what they say. Help Madeline survive her inner demons on her journey to the top of Celeste Mountain in this super tight, handcrafted platformer from the creators of the multiplayer classic Towerfall. Brave hundreds of challenges and uncover devious secrets and piece together the mystery of the mountain. Features a narrative-driven single-player adventure like Mom used to make, with a charming cast of characters and a touching story of self-discovery. A massive mountain teeming with 700-plus screens of hardcore platforming challenges and devious secrets. By the way, when they say screens, they're talking about like what you're seeing here. This is a screen, and they've got like 700 different screens, kind of like levels. I guess that would make sense. They also say brutal B-side chapters to unlock, built for only the bravest mountaineers. IGF, which I think is Independent Game Foundation, gave it the Excellence in Audio finalist with over 2 hours of original music led by dazzling live piano and catchy synth beats. So I think that if you've never played Celeste, I've played it a little bit. And because I got it as a Xbox Game Pass game, it's really good. It really is good. The thing about this game and why I've never really jumped into it is because it is very brutal in its difficulty. And I know that there's a lot of people, myself included, that kind of scares away. Like they look at that and they say, well, this looks really hard. I don't know if it's for me. I don't want to invest the time only to, not be good enough to continue. And even though I've only played a little bit of it, what I will say is that the checkpoints in the game are very, very close together. So if you die, you go back like a few seconds, and respawning is very, very quickly. Very, very quick, I mean. So you'll die, you'll respawn, you will have lost a few seconds. Now, of course, you might die on that room 37 times as you're trying to get from one side of the room to the other. And then on top of that, they'll also hide like these strawberries. And they'll put the strawberries in places where they are really, really hard to get to really, really test your platforming skill. So this is definitely a game with a high skill ceiling. That's those B-sides that they're talking about. But I think that everybody can probably find a way to enjoy this game. And the only reason that I haven't put way more time into it is because there's part of my brain that knows that I can just go and play it whenever I feel like it. And so I never worry about that. And I'm always focused on whatever's new, knowing that Celeste is always there waiting for me if I want to play it. It's a really good game. Of these two games, we've got Celeste and El Hijo. Here's my question to you. Which of these two games are you more interested in? Let me know in the comment section down below, okay? Now, before we get out of here, I have one last question or thought that I want to bring up about this particular news story, and that is the fact that we have the Stadia Connect on the 14th next week. Why didn't they hold on to this information for the Stadia Connect next week? Why would they let us know about it now, only 5 days before the Stadia Connect? Seems like kind of a weird thing. Maybe It's because the Stadia Connect is packed to the gills and they had to make room. So they made announcements here now. I don't know. I'm curious what you all think about that. If you didn't know, we do record a podcast all about Stadia, which is found right here on this channel every Sunday at 10 o'clock Eastern time. So make sure that you head on over or that you click the buttons and all of the YouTube stuff that we always ask you to do. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Until then, make sure that you stay awesome. Bye-bye, everybody.